Hello, wrestling fans and VHS fans, and welcome to NDT CoLlEcTs WrAsSLiN Plus VHS.
The following segment has been brought to you by NDT CoLlEcTs WrAsSLiN Plus VHS.
Wrestling fans, VHS fans, I've got another big box here. We're going to go through it and see what's going on. Let's get right into it. Dig right into it and see what we got. Like I said, let's dig right into it and see what's going on. See what we got. Like I said, now folks, again, wrestling fans, VHS fans, I got this off a Facebook group. It is hard to get into. It's got tape all over it. It's packaged very well here. Very well. Should have got a knife. I should have got a knife. But I got these old scissors. Let's see here. Put a little light on the subject here. Put a little light on the subject. I gotta scoot over a little bit so I can get me in frame here. Nobody can see me. Should have got a knife. But I didn't get a knife. I got a pair of scissors. I don't like that light. Yeah, that's better. Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace. How y'all doing today, by the way? How y'all doing? Comment below, let me know. How's your day? How's your day? You getting any rain? We get no rain whatsoever. It is hot. Okay, here we got cardboard, and cardboard. Okay, let's get right down into it. What we have here, wrestling fans, VHS fans, we have a box full. What do we got? We got number one here. It is Jack the Bear. We have a box full of VHSs. Let's get down to it. We got first one pulled out is Jack the Bear with Danny DeVito. Jack the Bear with Danny DeVito. It is worth seeing. Danny DeVito, Jack the Bear, excuse me. Let me get comfortable here. Jack the Bear, Danny DeVito. Next up we have the original. It is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. Also available on DVD. I think this is a cool movie. I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original. Yeah, the original. Next up, we have PG-13 film. And it has Seth Green in it. It has Jennifer Love Hewitt. It is Can't Hardly Wait. Can't Hardly Wait. Next up, we have part 3. Part 3 to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles saga, which is part 3. It says free coupon book inside the video cassette. It does not come with the free coupon book. Somebody's took it. Daggone it. Next up we have Courage Mountain with Charlie Sheen. Courage Mountain. Courage Mountain with Charlie Sheen. Next up we have Steve Martin, Rick Moranis in My Blue Heaven. My Blue Heaven. Next up we have The Mighty Ducks with Emilio Estevez. The Mighty Ducks with Emilio Estevez. The Mighty Ducks. Next up we have, let me pull this out real nicely. The box is beat up a little bit, and it's missing the top, which I didn't know when I bid on it on Facebook. I should have known. It is the Razor's Edge. The Razor's Edge with Bill Murray. The Razor's Edge. The Razor's Edge with Bill Murray. And it has no top. And the bottom, of course. But it has no top. The top looks to be cut out. Which I don't care for. I don't like that. Anyway, we're next up. We have Ice Cube in Trespass. Trespass with Ice Cube. Next up, we have Adam Sandler film in Little Nicky. Little Nicky. Next up, we got a Will Ferrell film in The Anchorman. Anchorman. The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Anchorman. Next up we have, and I got this because Marlon Wayans is in it. Marlon Wayans is in this film. It is Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. Marlon Wayans. Next up we have a good Jim Varney movie. Jim Varney film. Jim Varney is in this. Anybody know who Jim Varney is? The guy that always played the character Ernest P. Worrell. This is Treehouse Hostage with Jim Varney. Treehouse Hostage. Next up we have a horror flick. A horror. And it is, I think Vince Vaughn is in this. It is Sacco. Sacco with Vince Vaughn. Now this is a remake of the original Sacco film. This is one of the remakes that I enjoy. There's just a handful of remakes out there that I like of movies. This is one of them, Sacco. Next up, we have a glittery looking film here. Glitter. Looks like glitter's all over it. Glitter. We pull it out of the box. It is, yes, it is him. Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan in the glitter box. Not at the Roxbury. Not at the Roxbury with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan in the glitter box. Next up, we have Golf Punks. National Lampoon's Golf Punks is with, do you know that guy? Tom Arnold. Tom Arnold in Golf Punks. National Lampoon's Golf Punks. Good old Tom Arnold. Next up, we have Pat Morita, Hillary Swank in The Next Karate Kid. The Next Karate Kid. Next up, we have, I can't pronounce this, I'm on Prehistoria. Prehistoria. Can't pronounce it correctly. Prehistoria. Part 1. Next up, we have a Chris Farley film. Chris Farley is Almost Heroes. Almost Heroes. Next up, we have an Eddie Murphy film. An Eddie Murphy classic here. It is The Golden Child. The Golden Child. Next up, we have, what is this? Who plays in this did I get? Wonder, huh? Yeah, I know what I got this for. I got this because Will Smith's in this. One of his older films. Back when he was young. Back when he was just off the Fresh Prince. It is, I don't even know the name of it. Where the Day Takes You. I've never seen this, by the way. Where the Day Takes You. A Will Smith involvement. I've never seen Where the Day Takes You. Next up, we have a Chuck Norris film here. Chuck Norris. And it is Sidekicks. Sidekicks. Next up, we have Double Dragon. Double Dragon. Double Dragon. Good flick. Next up, we have Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes from Brendan Fraser and Steve Martin. Looney Tunes. Next up, we have a kind of horror flick here with Steve Zahn and Paul Walker. It is Joyride. Joyride. Anybody seen that horror flick? Joyride. Next up, we have a Rob Schneider film here. It is The Animal. The Animal with Rob Schneider. Next up, we have another Will Ferrell flick. Will Ferrell's in this as well. It is Bewitched. Bewitched with Will Ferrell. The movie Bewitched. Next up, we have we have Chris Rock in Bad Company. Bad Company. Next up, we have a Sly Sylvester Stallone film here. It is I See You. I See You. Next up, we have Road to Perdition. You know what Road to Perdition is? You ever seen that film? Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is in Road to Perdition. Next up, we have a great classic film here. I always enjoyed this movie. It may not need the first box, but it is awesome. It is Miracle Beach. Miracle Beach. Good flick. Miracle Beach. Next up, we have horror film. Waxworth 2. Waxworth 2. Lost in Time. Waxworth 2. Waxworth 2. Next up, we got... Whoa now. Don't go away. Don't fall down. We have part 3 to a great film franchise to me. Series, what are you going to call it? It is Poltergeist Part 3. Poltergeist Part 3. Now I've got to get Part 1 and 2. Poltergeist Part 3. Next up, we have another horror flick called The Unholy. The Unholy. The Unholy. And the thing about it is, with this Unholy, it has no label here. The label is lost. So I'm going to stick that into the VCR here in a few minutes after I get unboxing all this. I make the video, make sure this is the right film. It is Unholy. I'm sure it is. I'm sure the labels come off somewhere down the line and they just lost the label. But it is Unholy. I'll lay that to the side over here. Next up, we got another horror flick called Prom Night 4. Prom Night. That's awesome. Well done. Look. Next up, we have a sequel to the legendary Stephen King's film called Pet Sematary. This is Pet Sematary 2. Pet Sematary 2. Next up, we have the original, I believe, the original box. It is The Omen. The Omen. I can't pronounce it correctly. The Omen. Next up, we have Dr. Dolittle Part 2, Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy film. Dr. Dolittle Part 2. Part 2. Next up, not least, this is the last of the box. This is the last. We have part 2 to a good flick, which I need to get part 1 now. This is part 2. It is The Fly 2. The Fly 2 on VHS. That ends this segment, folks. That is all in this box. That wraps this segment up. We'll catch you on the next segment from NDT CoLlEcTs WrAsSLiN Plus VHS.
This segment was brought to you by NDT CoLlEcTs WrAsSLiN Plus VHS.